Christ, you damn near got yourself killed. What the hell are you...
Hey guys, Kiwi here. In this video, I'll be breaking down and discussing the mystery of who the heck is the person murdering all the saviors during the first half of The Walking Dead Season 9. Warning spoilers for everything in the show up to episode 902, and let's jump right into this. So I've discussed this briefly in my previous videos where I've broke down the previous trailers and sneak peeks for episode 903, feel free to check those out afterwards as well. But I wanted to dedicate a separate video to discuss this topic as we go through all the suspects and break down who is or isn't likely to be the murderer. First off, is it a group of raiders or deserters who have been robbing and murdering people traveling on the roads, possibly even whispers? Well, it's only been saviors that have gone missing and no one from the other communities have been hit, so I doubt that they're getting randomly robbed by chance, as people from the other communities would have gotten jumped as well, but we've seen our main characters go from community to community without an issue, such as when Michonne arrived at Hilltop alone. Also, there's a possibility of a second time skip this season after the big Rick death, and it would be illogical for the Whispers to just be hanging out around idly during the entire time skip. Once we see the Whispers, we shouldn't really get another time skip before shit starts getting crazy. Anyways, if the murder has to be specifically targeting saviors, what's the reason? There's a lot of reasons why people would want revenge on the saviors, but I originally wanted to break down what happened in episode 902 in regards to all the drama and beef that caused Savior Justin to get told off by Rick, but if the person who killed Justin is the same person that caused all the previous disappearances, it's not like it's just something that happened this episode that caused the murder to specifically target Justin. It's been a reoccurring issue that's been happening with previous saviors as well, or previous situations, not just Justin specifically, although he may be a prime example of what's going on here. The inner conflict of most of the civilians here is that they're being pushed out of their comfort zones to interact and be friendly with people that they just ended a war with. Some saviors are spoilt and just think that everything should be handed to them. They don't enjoy the idea of working for fair trade, and they don't enjoy the idea of being treated fairly alongside everyone else because they think they're better than everyone else. They don't like being on the same playing field as the people that they were just previously terrorizing and extorting. Likewise, the people from all the other communities are probably uncomfortable and on edge with having to live and work alongside the horrible attitudes that the saviors have, especially since they're giving up a ton of their food and supplies to them as well. So this is just someone who has it out for the saviors then, because a ton of them have been walking off from the bridge construction, which is just completely disrespectful to their truce and agreement with Maggie and all the other communities. If they walk off, how the hell do they expect to still get food in return? And so not only is there all the issues going on with the bridge construction, as I said, there's a lot of people who have previous reasons to resent the saviors. And so as crazy as it would be for Henry to be the murderer of Justin, it just kind of doesn't make sense if the murderer is the same person who caused the different disappearances of all the other deserters along with the people bringing the shipment of ethanol, because Henry may be able to surprise one person, but I doubt he could jump multiple groups of saviors and cover it up. And yes, in the opening minutes for episode 903, it looks like the zombified Savior Justin looks like he has a huge hole through his chest, implying that maybe it could be Henry, but I think that might be just to throw us off because it doesn't make sense the way that Justin reacted to him at the end of episode 902. Justin reacted to the murderer as if he doesn't have any issue with them. I'm not sure if he's actually friends with the murderer, probably just an acquaintance, but if it was anyone who Justin had an issue with in episode 902, he would have acted more rudely and he would have been more suspicious. He wouldn't have instantly let his guard down like that. He wouldn't have just been like, hey, what are you doing here? Whoever the murderer is, Justin definitely just didn't expect it at all. So whoever the murderer is, they have a resentment against saviors, but they're not someone who the saviors instantly hate or have been recently having an issue with. So with that logic, how could it possibly be Daryl either? I mean, he is the one who's so adamant against Rick's way of doing things currently, but I don't quite think that that's a reason enough for him to go murdering saviors on his own. Rick just wants to work everything out. Daryl knows that. He just thinks that Rick is a bit naive believe in the way that he's doing it, just in the way that he's forcing everyone to work and live together and just expect everyone to get along. Rick has said that Daryl has been acting this way for the past month or so, since episode 901 when Gregory was hung, so if Daryl has had an existing issue with forcing the Saviors together with all the other communities like this, does that give him motivation to take out the Saviors that end up deserting the job? I would hope that Daryl would know better than to do that. Rick has told him to stand down. I don't think that Daryl would go this far behind Rick's back by murdering Saviors on the road like that. Also, if Daryl had any sort of resentment towards the Saviors from back when he was a prisoner, he would have started murdering all the Saviors immediately after the war, not over a year and a half, and he would have talked to Maggie about maybe breaking in and murdering Negan or something. He wouldn't have just let it go for this long and then suddenly have an issue. And why would Daryl jump the group of Saviors bringing ethanol to the hilltop? Wouldn't he want to help Maggie? Because that would be counterproductive. Even if he was on a murderous Savior bloodlust, he probably wouldn't want to hinder his friends in any way. We do, however, see Daryl and Maggie out on a run together next episode with gas cans, so are they trying to go and scavenge for gas since the ethanol never showed up? Since Daryl's helping Maggie find gas, does that mean that he doesn't know where the ethanol went missing, or maybe he feels bad about it so he's trying to make up for it? It could be Carol as well, though. She actually was my original main suspect because I could see Justin reacting the way he did to her. Carol seems nice and all, but we all know that she can put on a nice act to blend in and make herself seem harmless, when in reality she's quite the ruthless killing machine. Speaking of which, to refresh your memory, Carol also did kill those two people back at the prison because she believed she could stop the sickness before it spread, but that ended up being untrue, meaning that Carol killed those two people for no reason. She was even exiled for that, eventually let back in with the group after saving everyone with Terminus, but would she really go down that same path again and make the same mistakes? People are bound to repeat their same mistakes and kind of go in a cycle, but in the case of this show, characters tend to evolve and learn from their mistakes, especially since a character going through the same arc over and over again would get redundant unless it's absolutely necessary, and maybe that one character's purpose is that they go in a circle. But my Carol theory started to crumble as well for similar reasons as Daryl, because I don't think that she'd be counterproductive in the sense that she'd be taking out the ethanol shipment and then not care that it's not going to arrive at the hilltop. So who else could it be? It's not another Savior killing their own, right? I doubt that Alden or someone like him would be killing off the asshole Saviors, and I don't think that Savior Jed is killing off his own friends to cause drama between the two groups or anything, because in the sneak peek he seems to be genuinely out there looking for Justin and frustrated that he's disappeared. Some people speculate that the Oceanside members could be at fault for this, and it's possible and it kinda makes sense. We've seen a promo image of Cindy going to the same abandoned shack that we've seen Maggie going to and fighting off zombies that are coming out of the entrance. So is Cindy hiding something there? Will Maggie find proof that the Oceanside people are the murderers? Also, Cindy had her hand cut for some reason at the beginning of episode 902. She said she didn't want to get it checked out, probably because if she's the murderer, then she wouldn't want to admit that she has any wounds from it, even though she's just trying to brush it off. I bet that some of the Saviors that helped Simon kill all the men from the Oceanside group are still alive, and that the Oceanside members might feel that it's unfair that they have to live alongside the murders of their friends, loved ones, and families. Whether it ends up being Beatrice, Kathy, or Sydney herself, it would be an interesting direction to go, especially since they've been low-key shown at the camp and so they're definitely a suspect, as Justin asked the murderer why they were out there and not back at camp, implying that they are people working at the bridge. So the murderer is someone who is at the camp and who is working on the bridge construction. So is it possible that the murderer could be Jadis? Maybe if they would have taken her character in a different route this season, but at this point, I'm not too sure. They've completely gotten rid of every aspect of her character that was unlikable. They're really trying hard to make the audience give her another chance, I guess, making her more of a realistic, down-to-earth girl who starts a relationship with Father Gabriel, which a lot of people have started to like recently, so maybe she does turn out to be the murderer. It's a huge twist. She goes to jail. Father Gabriel visits her during her rehabilitation period, but I don't think so. Something about it just feels off. I'd say my first guess would have to be the girls from Oceanside, maybe followed by Jadis, and then if I had to choose a third, probably with Henry, just because of that huge hole in zombified Justin's chest. So who could be targeting all the saviors deserting the bridge project, but also target the saviors bringing ethanol to the hilltop, because it has to be someone with a specific grudge against the saviors, probably someone pissed off about the bridge construction, along with everything during and before the war, but it can't be someone who is too close to our main leaders, because they killed the saviors carrying the ethanol regardless of the fact that that meant that the hilltop wouldn't get the ethanol delivered. Hell, the person probably murdered the group of saviors and then realized what they were shipping and was like, oh well, aw crap, I'm not going to deliver this myself because that'll give it away that I'm probably the one who killed them. It seems as though this murderer does not only have a grudge against all the saviors for whatever reason, they don't really care much about the fact that the ethanol would be left undelivered. The murderer doesn't really give a crap about the leaders of the community and their agenda for survival. The murderer just seemed to become jaded by their bloodlust for saviors that they let it get the best of them to the point that they're hindering their own communities at the expense of it. So what do you guys think? Is it one of the main characters such as Rick, Daryl, Carol, or maybe even Henry, or is it a villain or an antagonist group that we've never met before, such as a group of raiders, maybe even the Whispers, or is it a rogue savior taking out one of his own, or maybe a lesser known background character who lives at one of the communities taking his grudge out on the saviors? Leave any thoughts or theories down in the comments below, but that's pretty much it for the video, guys. I'd appreciate a like on the video if you've enjoyed anything I've said today, as it really helps me out more than you can imagine. Feel free to subscribe for more Walking Dead content in the near future, and if you'd like to take that extra step in helping support the channel, consider checking out my Patreon as well. Also follow me on Twitter too, link to both of those in the description. I'm fairly active on Twitter even when I'm not posting videos, and I'm always retweeting everything I can involving the Walking Dead universe. But anyways guys, as always, I thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.